Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 5, and we will be tackling all about Get to Know the New National Artist. The nation, led by President Rodrigo Duterte, feted seven new national artists in an awarding ceremony held on the 24th of October, which also revealed the honorees of other awards of national importance. The Presidential Medal of Merit, the Philippine Heritage Awards for Tangible and Intangible Heritage, given for the first time in the Gawad sa Manilikha ng Bayan are National Living Treasures Awards for traditional and folk artists, craftsmen, and artisans. The newly declared national artists are Larry Alcala for visual arts, Amelia La Peña Bonifacio for theater and literature, Ryan Cayabyab for music, Kidlat Tahimik for film and broadcast arts, Francisco T. Manyosa for architecture and allied arts, Russell B. Mojares for literature, and Ramon Mazonas for literature. Two of them, Alcala and Mazonas, were honored posthumously.
First artist is Kidlat Tahimik. Kidlat Tahimik's biography. Kidlat Tahimik's real name is Eric Oteiza de Gia. He is 78 years old and was born on October 3, 1942 at Baguio. He is a director and actor known for Perfumed Nightmare, or most commonly known as Mababangong Bangungot in 1977. His debut film, Mababangong Bangungot, was praised by critics and filmmakers from Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, and is still considered by many as a pioneer post-colonial essay film. Tahimik's intense independence as an artist and the film itself both urge for Filipinos to actively live their independence and not allow their culture to be imperialized by the Western. Kidlat's imperfect film is an example of what is known as third cinema around the world, a film that criticizes neocolonial exploitation and state oppression. Kidlat's work, unlike other third cinema films, does not revel in ugliness. Even his works that lament injustice and violence are founded in the possibility of triumph that has yet to be realized. Some Kidlat's notable works are Balikbayan in 2015, Japanese Summers of a Filipino Fundushi in 1996, Why is Yellow the Middle of the Rainbow in 1983 to 1994, Orbit 50, Letter to My Three Sons in 1990 to 1992, Turumba in 1983, and Who Invented the Yo-Yo, Who Invented the Moon Buggy in 1979.
Who is Francisco Manyosa? Francisco T. Manyosa, or also known as Bobby, and the father of Philippine New Vernacular Architecture and a national artist for architecture and allied arts in 2018 by President Rodrigo Duterte. So he was born in Manila on the 12th day of February, year 1931, and passed away on the 20th day of February, year 2019, due to prostate cancer. So Manyosa graduated at the University of Santo Tomas with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Architecture in 1953 and passed the board exam on 1954. So he worked more than 60 years of his life as an architecture and retired in the year of 2015. He was courageously and passionately created the original Filipino forms, spaces with intricate and refined details. But what is most valuable is that Manyosa was in the heart and soul of a Philippine architectural movement as he has developed a legacy of Philippine architecture as his work are centered in the development of indigenous materials and as exponent of Filipino architecture, which is essential to our Filipino identity. And now, let's take a look at Manyosa's most famous designs. So, most of these are structures and buildings you'd recognize and see on your daily commute throughout Metro Manila, like the LRT1, the San Miguel Building, with a design that was inspired by the Banawe Rice Terraces in Ortigas Center, Pasig City. So Bobby designed this project together with his brother Manuel and Jose, followed by the Coconut Palace or the Tahanang Pilipino, which is commissioned by former First Lady Imelda Marcos in 1981. So this was designed as a showpiece for the versatile coconut and its viability as an export. Next is the Chapel of the Risen Lord in Las Piñas City. Next is Our Lady of Peace Shrine. So Bobby built this in celebrating the 1986 People Power Revolution located in EDSA, Quezon City. Next is Pearl Farm Resort in Samal Island, Davao City. Bobby designed this using Filipino values, Philippine climate, and the use of indigenous materials. Next is Bobby's breathtaking design of a Manpulo resort in Palawan that has given him three international awards. So the Asia Pacific Interior Design Award for Hotel and Resort category in 1994, and the prestigious Gallivants Award for the Best Beach Resort worldwide in 1994 and 1995. Next is the Lanao del Norte Provincial Capital, which is located in Tubud, Lanao del Norte.
Russell Mojares is a teacher and scholar, essayist and fictionist, and cultural and literary historian. He is acknowledged as a leading figure in the promotion of regional literature and history. He pioneered Cebuano and national identity formation as a leading figure in cultural and literary history. He networked actively in many organizations. For over 50 years, Mojares has published in diverse forms, such as fiction, essay, journalism, scholarly articles, and books. Mojares has published 17 books, and edited, co-edited, or co-authored 11 books, and written numerous articles for popular and scholarly publications. The first one is House of Memory, and this was published in 1997. In this collection of essays, Mojares makes his way into the past by framing his memories and musings as parts of a house. Each essay elicits that familiar nostalgia one gets while visiting an old home and wistfully rummaging through long-forgotten objects that bring back the fond memories of childhood. The next book is Isabella's Archive. This was published in 2013. Isabella's Archive reenacts elk folklore Filipino. This was published in 1889. Inspired by Isabella's Cozy Project, this collection mixes essay, vignette, extract, and notes on Philippine history and culture, blending the literary and the academic, wondrously diverse in its range. It has many gems to offer to a reader. Waiting for Mariang Makiling. This book was published in 2002. This book is an exploration of Philippine cultural history. It presents a diverse range of texts including the legend of a mountain goddess, Pigafetta's discovery account of the Philippines, the life of a 7th century Christian convert, and the foundation narrative of a Marian shrine. Brains of the Nation. This book is a richly textured portrait of the generation that created the self-consciousness of the Filipino nation.
Ramon Mazanes was a Hiligaynon poet, essayist, short story writer, critic, grammarian, editor, lexicographer, and novelist who authored an unprecedented 61 completed novels. A number of these represent groundbreaking firsts in Hiligaynon literature, such as the feminist Ang Bagong Maria Clara, the Roman Eclipse Maambong nga Sapat, in English Magnificent Brute, during 1940, the comic Sitamblot during 1946, the politically satirical Sitamblot Candidato Man, in English Tamblot is also a candidate, during 1949, the 125th installment, longest serialized novel, Dama de Noche, from 1982 to 1984, hailed by his peers as the longest reigning among the three kings of the Hiligaynon novel from 1938 to 1972. Mazones brought about its most radical changes while ushering in modernism. With a literary career that spanned 53 years, from 1938 to 1990, his evolution covers the whole history of the Hiligaynon novel, from its rise in the 1940s to its decline in the 1970s. Mazones tried his hand at a variety of types and proved adept in all as literary fashions. In the process, he not only extended with remarkable versatility and inventiveness the scope and style of the Hiligaynon novel, but he also enriched Hiligaynon literature's dramatist personing. His notable works are Sri Bisaya during 1969, Malala nga Gutom, in English Malignant Hunger, during 1965, Babae Batok sa Kalibutan, in English Woman Against the World, during 1959, Ang Gugma Sang Gugma Bayaran, in English Love with Love Be Paid, during 1955, Sitamblot during 1948, Margo sa Tubig during 1946. It can be noted that the qualifications of Gamaba is quite higher compared to the national artist. However, it doesn't mean that the former is greater than the latter, or vice versa. Both of them are equally important in continuously promoting the diverse and unique culture and arts of the Filipinos.
Event, exhibit, and managing audience. Having an event is both exciting and taxing on your part, most especially if you are the one calling the shots. That is why careful planning is a must in order to have a smooth row of the show. Always remember that it is not a one-man show. It is a team effort. The process of planning an event from start to finish may be divided into 5 phases, which we have called the 5 C's. These are the concept, coordination, control, culmination, and closeout. The first step for planning a successful event is the event concept. Think about what the event will be held for. One of the best ways is to think about the greatest concert ever held. Even if your event is not a concert, this gives you an idea of how you want your event to make attendees feel. This is bound to be an event that you have attended that has created everlasting memories in your mind. This is what you want to do with your event. Think about why are you planning this event and what is the purpose of the event. You may wish to host an event to entertain others. Maybe the event is a fundraiser for a charitable cause, or maybe this is a seminar to teach a particular subject. Once you have figured out the why, you want to figure out who the event is targeted to. You want to find your target audience who will enjoy and benefit the most from your event. This will help you to determine the what of the event. This means that you will be able to determine what the event should consist of, such as speaker, performance, activities, catering, and etc. And finally, you have to determine when the event will be take place and what the best venue is for it.
Event coordination. This, where you start as a team productive brainstorming, is a must. Your event concept will guide you on what would be the possible theme or title of the event. You should be well versed in the different logistics that are needed. As a team, There must be also a delegation of specific tasks depending on the area of expertise or exposure. You should be prepared for any untoward scenarios that might occur before, during, and the closing part. This will include coming up with a theme or general idea for the events. Once you find a theme, you will have a better idea for the venue, decorations if appropriate, and any additional needs for the event. Whether it is hiring a speaker, using audio, visual, equipment, and etc. You need to make sure you reserve the dates and venue much in advance. Make sure you have flexibility with the dates and venue if you are not able to find the perfect time and location at first. Once these are confirmed, you can start advertising the event to your potential attendees. This is also the step with you delegate tasks to your team members. Among these tasks will include reaching out to speaker performers. Other tasks will include purchasing or renting the required technology and equipment. You may wish to ask your team members to coordinate transportation, catering, and marketing. Next is event control. Having defined the scope of your event, it is highly important to put control measures in place. If event planning is to idealism, then event conceptualization is to realism. At least two members should compare and contrast the similarities and differences of planning and its actual implementation. They may also recommend a few changes if needed. During the event, if the original plan is not working, event control manages any untoward scenarios that might occur with anyone. And this is one of the most overlooked and often neglected stages of event management. This is best managed if you do a run-through of the event. You want to make sure everything is on track. Show up to the venue and see if there is ample space for all the confirmed attendees. You also need to see if there is ample space for the catering company to lay out the food. You also want to be on top of everything and plan for possible changes.
Event culmination. Culmination, an action of culminating. Event culmination. This is the important things for an event or the highest point of every event. The coordination of the event day itself will the result of all the previous planning seen. Culminates events and or with a particular event happens, a event or series of events culminates and something it ends with it, having developed until it reached this point. The activities and events culmination include event team management, supplier vendor coordination. All these define that event's experience for the attendees, whether or not the event is a memorable one. Event closeout means the following events and circumstances. It seems that this is where the event will end and this is where the awarding, reporting, or each will be held. After the events complete and the client has approved the outcomes, some post-event activities equally necessary to highlight the event process. An event default, termination event, or any similar events as agreed between the parties on an occurrence of which under the terms of the closeout netting arrangement comes into effect.